This episode of the Sufficiently Advanced Podcast is brought to you by our robotic overlords. So we are officially back.
I mean, at least for now.
Yeah, I mean, this is probably the last one.
Most likely.
Because I'm tired.
Yeah, Star and stuff.
Yeah. Just a quick mention. This upcoming Wednesday, May the 1st, is our annual Science Night.
All right.
Come out. We'll be having our Switch Grand Prix finals,
Yep.
Mario Kart tournament.
Qualifiers are the day that we're recording this, so hopefully that goes well.
Yeah, we'll have lots of prizes to give away. So come out, have a good time. Doors open at 5, and be here.
Pizza prizes and something amazing for one of the raffles.
Yeah, one of the raffles is really amazing. Somewhere in the video, you'll hear a hint or see a hint
Maybe a little clue.
of what the final prize is. But anyway, so let's address the robotic elephant in the room.
All right.
Why have we not been doing podcasts?
I mean, same reason I don't sleep at night. Just quiz grades, test grades, those kind of refocus you for a couple of different priorities.
Yeah, it's mostly because I hate you all.
That's the one.
But, actually, to be all honest, there was a falling out between me and Mr. Hansen.
Yep, it's a big fist fight.
Yeah.
Luckily, we're both very skilled at wearing makeup, so
Yes.
you didn't see any of the black eyes, but they were there.
Fun fact, somehow we both lost.
It was incredible.
Should have been there.
Or did we both win?
I don't know.
I think we usually lose in life anyway.
Yeah,
so.
that's pretty much how it goes. But the real reason why we haven't been doing podcasts is my fault. I have been in grad school for the past couple of years.
But he's done! Woo!
Watch those levels. But I finally finished up, and so I'm done with that, and so I can return to the things that I actually love in life, like wasting
games.
time at work or video games.
Which is apropos.
Which is just both things I do. So we thought today's podcast would be fun just to talk about something that we love very, very much, video games.
Video games.
And they're just the best thing ever. So, Mr. Hansen, I think we should start off with what is our first video game console?
First video game console. So if you want to count Game Boy, that was my first, but like
Portables.
console was...
Portables count as consoles.
Fair enough. But if you wanted to go traditional, like connect to your TV console, Sega Genesis.
Sega Genesis, nice. It does what Nintendo don't.
Did it really though?
No, not at all. Blast processing was a lie.
My favorite thing that I remember about that is the blood code for Mortal Kombat.
Oh, yes.
ABAC
So if you didn't know that, now you do.
Now you do. You're welcome.
Oh, yeah. I actually never owned a Genesis.
Fair enough.
Never owned a Genesis.
Okay.
My first console was probably a Commodore 64.
Holy cats. Like, as a new Commodore 64, or as, like, that was the only one that you could get
That's
kind of thing?
the only thing I had, was
Gotcha.
Commodore 64. I remember my dad bought it.
That's crazy.
Load, asterisk, comma 8, comma 1, run. This was back in the day when you had to type it all in.
Ugh.
Oh man, yeah. But ours had on the back of the keyboard, you could actually plug Atari games into it.
Whoa, that's
And so
super
I guess
awesome.
you could say my first console was an Atari.
Fair enough,
But I remember the Commodore, you could actually plug it in. And so, but after that, I as a kid, I always had Nintendo.
Yeah.
NES was my first console.
Yeah, I had my best friend, he had a Super Nintendo. So all of my, like, almost favorite video game kind of experience until I got my 64, which we'll get to.
Oh, yeah.
He even had the, like, light bazooka thing for the SNES.
See,
that was so cool.
I remember having the original Nintendo.
Yes,
Like-
my cousin had one of those, so...
I
Yeah,
had an SNES. I still have an SNES.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I have a SNES and a Super Game Boy. And so,
Nice.
yeah, I can still play the Game Boy games and everything like
That's
that.
awesome. Good on you for keeping those.
Actually, I didn't.
Oh,
This is something I bought a couple of years ago.
fair enough.
So, our first consoles were both old school, and that's
Yep.
because we're old.
Yes.
But what do you think would be your favorite game of that era?
Of that era. Whew. That's harder because there weren't like any super breakout games for me on that console. Like
I think we know mine.
my life changer like video game like legit obsession started with 64 and Zelda.
Okay.
That was my like going from a kid who plays video games to a gamer.
Yeah.
That was the breaking point for me.
I think mine was definitely like I loved playing Mario and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But I didn't become like a shut-in recluse until Mega Man X.
Gotcha.
And I remember, and if you haven't seen it on the channel, there's a Let's Play of Mega Man
right.
X.
Right.
So check that out. But yeah, Mega Man X was my big like breakthrough. Like I'm going to play games as much as I possibly can. And it's really crazy. My buddy Nick actually got me into it. I was I was spending the night at his house, and he'd been trying to beat it for a long time. We spent the entire night learning how
that's
to beat
awesome.
it, and I was hooked,
Yep.
like just like that. And I also went the N64 route, but Super Nintendo was my jam. Even when the 64 came out, it almost to me when the 64 came out, I remember like whoa, like freaking out about it.
Yep.
But at the end of the day, like aside from a few games, like I never saw that 64 as a standout. Zelda, obviously,
Yeah.
a standout, a classic.
Mario 64.
I did not like Mario 64.
Really? Wow.
I did not.
That's nuts. Yeah, those are the two games I had up until that point never played anything as obsessively as those. And I would still qualify those as like possibly the most obsessive games I've ever played. I mean, I still go back to Ocarina of Time and play it.
See, I still play Star Fox 64 a lot.
That was also a great game.
Star Fox
Agreed.
64 was one of my favorites.
I'm one of those like, collector side quest kind of persons. Like I want to do every little nitpicky possible thing in the game, and those games just are chock full of those. And those are like some of the first, like the 64 generation, which was like right alongside PlayStation almost.
Yeah.
That was when you got games that had like so much more depth than anything we'd really seen before, except for maybe like the old Japanese RPGs.
Yeah, like Mother and stuff like that.
Right.
Yeah, as far as the 64, I was never really into sports games. I never
neither.
really was, and still am not.
Yeah.
But I remember, like, the big part, like, they came out with Mario Party game during that time.
Yep.
But I remember our big, like, party game was actually WCW versus NWO Revenge.
That's hilarious.
And WWF 2000.
Gotcha.
We played that nonstop. I mean, just insane amounts of just wrestling games. The 64, if you've never played a wrestling game on the 64, and if you're a wrestling fan, like seriously, play the wrestling games on 64. The four that you need to play:
Yep.
WCW versus NWO World Tour.
Okay.
WCW versus NWO Revenge, WWF WrestleMania 2000, and WWF No Mercy.
Nice.
No Mercy on like a bunch of lists is considered one of the best of all time.
Huh.
It's like really in depth. It's kind of crazy.
That whole generation, granted, that's like one of the longest console generations until you get to maybe PS2. I think that might have been a longer generation. But I mean, you have looking at original 64 games other than maybe like Mario 64 and Ocarina of Time, and then all the way down the road, the transition is crazy how much further they went.
Yeah, I have a dirty little secret to admit about Zelda on the 64.
Nice.
So I beat Ocarina of Time many times. I have never beaten or played much of Majora's Mask.
Neither have I.
Really?
You are not alone.
Okay, cool.
Wasn't my thing.
I played like the Oracle Seasons, but I didn't like it. Didn't appeal to me.
So games that have like weird time constraint things, I can't do that.
Yeah.
Because that was the whole point of the Majora's Mask, is like you had to do stuff before the world ended or whatever.
Yeah.
And you had like time limits for certain like sections of the game.
Yeah.
And you couldn't like progress beyond that. And I just want my world to be completely open so I can do whatever I want, whatever order I want. I don't want any restrictions on it.
Yeah.
So that's why I couldn't get into it.
Yeah, I think that kind of like that clock.
Yeah.
I hate games of clocks.
Agreed.
So kind of moving into the next era
Yep.
of video games. My next console after the 64 was a PS2.
Yep. So I got a PlayStation probably like halfway through that generation of consoles.
Yeah, I did too. But like it was my brother's.
Ah, gotcha.
So
Yeah, the game changer on that console, and pretty much probably one of the only games I played for most of it.
Mega
Two
Man
games.
X4.
Ah, there you go. 2 games.
No, that was
One was Metal Gear. It was the first Metal Gear I'd ever
yes, I
played.
cannot. I was going to talk about Metal Gear.
I was obsessed with that game.
Oh yes.
Oh, when you had to figure out to change the controller over
Yes.
to that was like the most meta, mind-blowing
Spoiler
thing
alert,
in
by the way.
all video games
Oh yeah,
up
Metal
to that
Gear
point.
Solid is
Stupid good.
So you've probably just seen in like video game stores like Metal Gear, what is that? Survive.
Yeah. There's
That's
a ton of them now.
joke.
It's crazy.
It's a joke, and I'm not even that big of a fan of Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yeah, I mean,
It's even though it's a big open world adventure, like it gets way Hideo Kojima just went a little deep on it.
yeah.
you know.
Honestly, I liked Sons of Liberty, which was the one that
Yes.
came right after Solid.
Now, if you like,
It was weird,
yeah,
super trippy, but I thought it was a great game. A lot of people hated it because most of the game you're not playing as Snake.
you're playing as Raiden.
But it worked for me, and it had
Yeah.
like it scratched all the right itches that you
Oh
want.
yeah,
Metal Gear
I
to
mean,
scratch, for
I
sure.
can't even like immediately when you said that, I'm thinking, all right, I gotta stop Fat Man before he blows up the tower.
Exactly, collecting another one where it had all the little side stuff where you could collect all the dog tags. And
Yeah, and that's
I
one of
love
those
that
games
stuff.
you can enjoy it without going super deep, but you can also just like really get into it.
Yes.
And there's so much story buried in it. Like it's amazing that that's one disc.
Oh my god, you know what we forgot to mention?
What?
GoldenEye.
Oh yeah,
That would have been a
GoldenEye.
real big misstep.
Oh yeah.
That game, oh my god! I was never
no-
a game with other people kind of person. I was always a solo gamer. So I mean, I would just obsessively go through every level, get in paintball mode.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god, so much fun. So I was never like one of those big 64 multiplayer guys. I mean, every once in a while I'd have friends come over and we'd do that, but
Yeah, to
Solo.
me, a video game has to have a story,
yes,
and it has to be compelling enough for my time.
agreed.
Like, a lot of people just play whatever and be like, oh yeah, I played it, like, you know, and just because of its name, and that's
Yeah.
where we get games like, you know, Madden's and even Assassin's Creed.
that one went
Like
off
that
the
one
rails
started.
really
That
fast.
one started strong, but then the story just got so weak because they didn't know what they were doing
Yep.
anymore.
Yep, they
And
had a
they're
great
just pushing
concept,
it out.
and then they just went to I don't know, mainstream with it.
I mean,
watered down. That's
yeah.
the word I'm looking for.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I loved Black Flag, but I missed that element of that's and what's the companion to Black Flag, Rogue, the last one.
So I've never been a big Assassin's Creed person either.
I played a lot of them.
Okay.
But like Black Flag, I really miss that modern day part of it. Like I've been waiting for a real modern day Assassin's Creed.
Gotcha.
And I don't think they're ever gonna do that.
Yeah, probably not.
But Rogue like came out the same time as Unity.
Okay. Yeah.
And Unity had a really weak story.
Gotcha.
It was not great. It had really bad technical issues.
Yeah.
and Unity was supposed to be the jump into PS4 for Assassin's Creed.
Okay.
But they released Rogue for PS3, and it went kind of under the radar.
I mean, just like everything on PS3.
I'm not no. Hey, I'm a PS3 dude. So
I don't
but-
dislike PS3, but it was just such a weird time for Sony's consoles.
Oh yeah,
They made a lot of weird decisions with that thing.
yeah. But with that, like, it was such a good story. Like, it's surprising that people never really caught on to it. Rogue was better than Unity, and even at the end, tied into Unity.
Yeah.
And
Was that exclusive?
it was PS3. Well, they just released Rogue on PS4
Okay.
a few months
Okay.
or something ago.
I mean, that would be my suspicion of why it didn't blow up more, is because,
It wasn't on the new console.
yeah.
Speaking of Metal Gear, back to Metal Gear.
Yep.
So, have you ever played Twin Snakes?
I played a tiny bit of Twin Snakes, not a ton.
So
That was PS2, right?
No,
No?
GameCube exclusive. It was a GameCube exclusive remake.
Of Sons of Liberty.
No,
No?
of the original Metal Gear Solid, the Shadow Moses incident.
Really?
Oh, dude, I have it at home.
Because I know I got Sons of Liberty on GameCube as well.
Sons of Liberty never came out on GameCube.
Am I crazy then? Maybe it was Twin Snakes that I got. It must have been.
Well, we'll have to
It all
verify
blends
this information.
together, honestly. Those two games blend together a lot for me because I played them
Well,
almost
because they're
right
supposed
after
to
the other.
they're supposed to be like,
Continuations.
Yeah.
Yeah, that checks out.
but that one was such a good upgrade. Like if you are one of those people that are nasty about graphics,
yeah.
like
That could be hard.
if you want to experience Metal Gear Solid, now I'll tell you right now, getting a hold of a copy of Twin Snakes is near impossible. And you know, Nintendo did really. We'll talk about that in a second. Nintendo really did a good job with when they had exclusives.
Yes.
Um,
oh God. So I mean, yeah.
Like when they remade
built
Metal Gear Solid.
franchises.
Yeah. When they had the opportunity to run with something, it was great.
Agreed.
Yeah, I didn't own a GameCube until after its life cycle because I
Same.
bought it for $10.
Yeah, I did something similar as well. Honestly, the reason exclusively that I bought a GameCube was to play Wind Waker.
Yeah, I actually never got to play Wind Waker.
A lot of people hated that game. I loved it.
Really?
I mean, so unfortunately, the reason people hated it, I think, was because at the E3 before it came out.
Oh yeah, they
They
had the
did
giant
the
spider
big-
tech demo.
Well, they had the tech demo, and it was basically a work in progress for Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
Which was much more realistic, you know, the kind of what we expect out of Zelda. And then they were like, hey, here's our Zelda game. It's a cartoon and it's cel shaded.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, what?
Where's that thing we
Where's
saw?
what? You are liars.
Liars.
And I think that immediately put people off instead of actually trying it and seeing that it was one of the best Zelda games I've ever
Oh
played.
yeah, I've heard it's
one
amazing.
of my favorites.
I've heard it's amazing. I need to actually sit down. That's the goal. Now I'm done with grad school. I can
Catch up on
actually
your
play
log.
some video games. I have a massive backlog
Ugh.
right now.
I mean,
Like-
Steam is the worst thing that's ever happened to my
Oh,
life.
I haven't not even looked at Steam.
It's terrible.
I'm afraid to look at Steam, but just like games that I pick up because
Yeah.
I know I'm gonna play them,
Right.
but I don't know when.
Yeah. That's
so
what that immortality's for.
yeah, exactly. Thank you, robotic overlords. So, kind of going on from the PS2. I didn't have original Xbox, but that was just
Neither
pretty
did I.
much just
Halo.
Halo. That was Halo
that was a Halo
console
simulator.
Halo console.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I liked Halo.
I did too. I didn't get into Halo until much later.
Oh yeah, I think I got into Halo in like 2009.
Because again, I was I was a Zelda RPG kind of person. So
Yeah.
first person shooters were not my thing at all.
No, they're still not mine.
and then
I like Doom, but
yeah. And then once I did get into Halo, that was one of the first games that I played with other people.
yeah.
And my friends and I, we would go through hard mode, the hardest mode you could, and just get better and better and better. We didn't play a lot of PvP back then, but then 2 and 3, and we got obsessed with it.
I think this is an important time as we're talking about going from the PS2 and Xbox to the Xbox 360 and PS3.
Yeah.
An important milestone in gaming history, the death of the video store.
Yeah, fair point.
This was back when, as long as I can remember.
Yeah, GameStop was life.
I mean, before GameStop even, like, the people who play video games today are at such a disadvantage because it's either you buy it or you don't.
Yeah, fair point.
It used to be you could go to Blockbuster or even mom and pop shops. That was like their bread and butter.
Yeah.
And I remember Mega Man X2 came out, and I remember making my parents wait for like 2 hours one time because I was just like losing my mind. And it is rented. It was rented out, and they said, "Oh yeah, that's due today." I'm like, "I'll wait."
Renting video games,
but that was great. I mean,
it's crazy.
If you got a game that was bad, you didn't have to shell out a bunch of money.
I mean, in the defense though, there are, at least on Xbox. I don't have a PS4 sadly, but on Xbox, you can demo a fair number of games.
You can demo a fair number of PS4, but at the same time, like, a demo's a lot different than...
Ideally, it's not, but yeah, that's a fair point as well.
Getting that real experience. Because I know most of the games I bought were after I rented it.
Gotcha.
If I rented Mortal Kombat 3, I played it with my brother, like, for a weekend, and we were both like, this is great. We don't want to take it back, so we need to pull up our money and go buy it.
Nice.
It was like you're paying for a demo, and you find out, is this game worth $60? Because the games were still $60 back then.
That has not changed.
And that's like
nuts.
almost, if you inflate it, like $100 today.
Basically.
So, I mean,
yeah, that's crazy.
It was pretty hardcore.
So I'm gonna put forth an argument here. I would wager that the Xbox 360 era was still a PS2 era. Even after PS3 had come out, I feel like PS2 was still in its prime.
Oh yeah, and PS2 is like the longest living console.
Yes.
I mean, games are still because I remember when the PS3 came out, I was working in electronics at a Walmart. Yeah, I worked at Walmart. Go figure.
Nice.
But yeah, long story, but I actually ended up in electronics because I told them I was going to quit, and I was the only one of the few people that actually worked at the store.
Nice.
And they're like, "Where do you want to work?" Not where I'm at. Put me in electronics because I like electronics.
Beautiful.
But I remember when that came out, even a couple of years into the PS3 life cycle, almost everything was still getting released on PS2.
Yeah.
I think what really killed it is when they started making the ports a lot less.
Yeah.
Yeah. And when they started moving on to instead of AAA, like, across the board, like across platform games, into exclusives is when the PS3 really started taking off. Like when they finally got the God of War series and put it on PS3.
That was a big deal.
That was a big deal. That was a console seller.
So, like, for me, I'm kind of a one-game loyalist for a lot of my gaming. So, for Nintendo, the whole reason I bought a Switch was Breath of the Wild.
Yeah.
I basically bought a, $360 Zelda game.
I think that, yeah.
Because I'll play other things on the Switch,
I know
but
they're
I got
roughly
it for Zelda.
worth a little over $300, but... they're really good.
Yes, they are.
I mean, I wouldn't trade my Switch I have my Switch with me right now. Like,
so do I.
And I'm even finding myself buying games on multiple platforms now because of the Switch.
Yeah.
Like, for example, Mortal Kombat 11.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't, wait. I bought it on the Switch, and I bought it on the PS4. You know which one I've played?
Switch, I bet.
I've only played on the Switch.
Yep. That makes sense.
I know that because I have a PS4 Pro at home, and I know, and I have a 4K TV, all that kind of stuff,
Yep.
and I know that I'm gonna be blown away by
how pretty it
how
is.
pretty it is. But I feel like the being able to move around with the Switch
Yeah, they
is
kind
like
of-
its greatest selling point.
It's a weird game changer for mobile gaming
Yeah,
because it doesn't feel like it lacks anything that you normally feel like a portable console would.
yeah.
It
It feels like a console.
you can be as immersed, if not more immersed, in a game on the little screen of the Switch than you
Yeah.
can on a TV, which is, I don't know how they managed to do that, but
I mean,
that's
yeah, there's
how I
some
feel.
downfalls to the Switch, like
Sure.
no Bluetooth headphones
Sure,
or anything
sure.
like that. But in all honesty, like, I'd rather just I can go on my back porch and
It's true.
listen to nature while I stare into a digital realm. You know,
Back to the PS2 thing.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, so I'm a huge Final Fantasy fan.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is.
Oh yeah,
Ooh,
I was
boy.
mainly a Final Fantasy VII kind of guy. I'm about to play Final Fantasy X though.
As one of the craziest Final Fantasy fans, I didn't start playing Final Fantasy until 11. Then I went back to 10, which I've played about 1 billion times. But I was so far past 7 that I've never gone back. I've never tried it. I've started a couple of times, but the chibi characters, I just haven't been able to get past that. I know I should, but it's just one of those things.
I wonder if you've ever noticed this. If you've played Final Fantasy VII, right?
Yeah, well, just a little bit. That's what I was just saying.
Okay,
That's
alright.
the one I haven't. The blasphemous Final Fantasy that I was never really into.
Well, what's something really interesting when you start the game?
Mm-hmm.
All of the cinematics and stuff like that are very, very rudimentary.
Mm.
But as you go, the cinematics actually look better.
Really?
Almost like you're getting more immersed in the world. And it's becoming
That
more
is a
real.
really cool idea.
I don't know if that's ever been brought up. Like I've never heard that on the internet, but that's something I noticed.
Interesting.
Like as you're going, the cinematics get better and better and better.
Yeah, that's a really interesting idea.
And yeah, so like I feel like they're trying to say you're buying in, you're keeping
You're
going.
really here now.
You're really
Interesting.
here.
That's a cool idea. If that was on purpose, that's
If that was on
awesome.
purpose, if it's not just me being weird, which kind of you're talking about PS2 era, kind of brings me to the idea of the consoles that have been forgotten. Now I'm not talking about bad consoles. I'm talking about good consoles that people don't remember anymore, like PSP.
PSP, yeah, that was a surprisingly big game changer that all of a sudden stopped changing the game randomly
Yeah.
in the middle of nowhere.
It just died.
Yeah.
See, I'm a huge PSP fan. I own 4 of them.
Holy cow.
And the reason is, I am, as far as preservation of games, there are games you can't get anymore. And like
True.
Mega Man X3, like as much as I would love a legit copy of Mega Man X3, which I own digitally, I own it on the Mega Man X collections and stuff like that. But the Super Nintendo version and the European PlayStation version, you can't get.
There
And
you go.
or Mega Man Wily Wars on the Genesis, you can't get it. And this is where I will say emulation is definitely a saving grace. And one
Yeah.
thing I am mad at with Nintendo,
Is that it's almost impossible.
well, no. Nintendo has taken down a lot of emulation sites.
Really?
Yes.
Ah,
Through
okay.
lawsuits. I think as we've gone away from being backwards compatibility.
Which, it's crazy that they stopped that.
Yeah.
That was one of the most epic parts of the PlayStation 2, was that you could still play PlayStation games.
Yeah.
Like, one of my favorite games of all time is the series called Wipeout.
Oh, okay.
So some people are familiar
Wipeout,
with it. It's like a racing game, but
yeah.
you're, like,
they
in
had
these
one on
floating-
Vita, like Wipeout 2048.
Yes. So you're in these, like, floating spaceships, and it's basically like a futuristic version of Mario Kart.
I was gonna say
essentially.
future, like a hardcore version of F-Zero.
Yes, also
Yeah.
that. But one of the reasons I fell in love with it, like, I don't like racing games for the most part. My friends found a controller called a NedgeCon.
Okay.
And an EdgeCon is where the controller is split in half. It's still connected, but you actually, instead of using joysticks to turn, you twist the controller.
Oh, I've seen those. I
And it
remember
made
that.
for the coolest experience ever with a racing game, because
But
it
it's
just
more
made
like
it
an arcade.
yeah, and it made it more immersive. So it just really got me into the racing and the skill involved in it, because it took a lot of skill, especially on the
Yeah.
harder like tracks and stuff. And the coolest part about it was Wipeouts were a PlayStation 1 game,
Yeah.
so I could even plug my NedgeCons into the PlayStation 2 and still be
So-
able to play
oh,
it
that's
on my
awesome.
console. So that was huge. And then PS3 came along, and they basically lost most of that backwards compatibility, and more importantly, they lost most of their exclusives. They lost their Final Fantasy exclusive.
Yeah.
So I got 360 specifically for Halo, because again, I'm a one game, one console person. And once I found out that I could play Final Fantasy on my 360, I was like, well, I don't really need a PlayStation anymore. The most important exclusive game on that console wasn't exclusive anymore. I was like, well, do I really need to spend that much money on a console where there's probably maybe going to be one or two games that I might want to play?
Yeah.
I think that happened to a lot of people.
Yeah, and definitely moving into this console generation,
Mhm.
like, I'm weird this console generation. I own them. Like, I have a Xbox One, I have a PS4,
Yeah.
I have a Switch, and it's mostly just because I can.
I mean, that's a good reason.
But
mean,
I also, I don't, like, there's so very few console exclusives. The ones I pick up
Mhm.
are PS4 exclusives.
Yeah.
I
PS4 came back with a vengeance
yeah.
after PS3. They were like, okay, we didn't really do that right. And they came out of the gates like a crazy bull with their exclusives.
On bath salts.
Yes. Like, I was so mad at my friends for getting Xbox Ones.
Yeah.
I
I actually
was-
got launch day PS4.
Oh, God, I was so
On
mad.
accident.
Yep.
On accident, I got a launch day PS4. I was at the Galleria.
amazing.
And I just was like, it was launch day. I didn't expect to get one.
Yeah.
And I was they had a Sony store then. And I was
remember
walking
that.
past and I was just like, you know what? I doubt it. I'm going to see.
Yep.
And they said, oh yeah, this dude didn't show up for his pre-order. Sell it to you. Like, okay.
That is awesome. Yeah, I'd have bought that right off
It was
the
the
bat, too.
last one too.
Ah.
So
Yeah, so, and since the game that I was going to be playing was with my friends, I got roped into an Xbox One because that was, I wanted to play with my friends because it was Destiny, for those of you who haven't guessed that already.
it was Destiny that you would play Destiny.
Yeah, it really was. So yeah, I pretty much had to get an Xbox One to play it on that. And then Destiny is such a grind fest that trying to get it on PlayStation 4 and re-get everything that I had done was just an insane proposition. And since 90% of my game time was in that specific game, it was kind of pointless almost, which is super disappointing.
Yeah. I definitely am going to stick with this PS4 wave for a minute.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
we're on the verge of a new console generation.
Which is
Already kind of crazy. It feels like it's...
feels like yeah, that's mind blowing. I don't know. I'm so weird about consoles now, because it's like essentially you're just buying an exclusive PC.
Yeah. Nowadays it feels like that,
there's
definitely.
there's nothing special about consoles other than like the one exclusives, and almost the defining aspect of a console nowadays is defined by the games that it can't play.
Yeah. And that's why I'm a big modder.
Yeah.
I like modding consoles.
Okay.
I don't mod my current gen consoles, but things that are no longer supported,
Yeah.
like I've modded every PSP I have.
Wow, that's crazy.
I modded my Wii. I modded my Vita and my
Really?
Vita TV. I have a grip for my Vita that adds an R2 L2 button. And I was
Nice,
able to
that's
mod
cool.
it to where it responds to those in remote play, so it's like having a real controller
That
for
is
my
cool.
PS4. But kind of just to kind of wrap things up. I mean,
Sure.
video games are awesome, and
Just like comics, we could talk about this forever.
yeah. And I know this is completely scatterbrained, but we haven't done this in like 4 months or
It's true.
something,
It's
so you can get over
I
it.
mean, we're scatterbrained anyway, regardless
Yeah,
of what we're talking
'cause
about.
work. But I think kind of to wrap this up, let's think what is our one game or game series
Mhm.
outside of Mega Man X. I'll be good.
Yeah.
That we want to see come back.
Want to see come back.
hmm
Ooh.
Now, if they've made spin-offs and stuff like that, you can still count it because spin-offs are spin-offs.
Okay. Okay.
Like true, like gameplay, original to the purpose.
I would say, well, they're supposedly technically doing this, but I don't believe it's really going to be accurate to what they say it's going to be. I want them to remake Final Fantasy VII so I can play it and not feel like I'm playing an old game.
It's on
as
Switch
much.
now.
Yeah.
Oh, you're talking about
I
the
mean,
Final
like
Fantasy VII remake.
actually remake it.
No, I don't think I want them to.
I mean,
Personally-
that's completely reasonable.
I mean, I like Crisis Core.
Yeah.
That was good.
Yeah, fair
But
enough.
I don't know. I've not been a big fan of the new Final Fantasy gameplay. That's just me,
It's
though.
changed a lot. Yeah, I really enjoyed Final Fantasy 15, but it also didn't really feel like a Final Fantasy either, which is
Yeah.
really weird. I was one of the only people in the world apparently who liked 13 though. So.
Yeah, that's because you're like weird.
Yeah, I mean to me, I love turn-based RPGs, so it was a really cool mixture to me of turn-based and action-based.
Yeah.
So I really liked that idea, but it wasn't nearly big and open enough as far as Final Fantasies go. Compared to
Yeah.
like 12. Oh my god,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
that game was a time sink.
I think for me, like obviously I love my Mega Man games,
Mhm.
but I think one that I'd really like to see come back to true form and with good graphics and extended campaign
Mhm.
would be the Star Fox series. Now
can
I
see
know they
that.
came out with Star Fox Zero,
Yeah.
but the controls were so bad. It was pretty much just a remake of the first game.
Yeah.
I want to see a real like new Star Fox game.
I think that's a pretty good call.
No motion controls, just
Pure.
at the end. Yeah, pure. Oh, one of my favorite things about Ultimate Smash Bros. Ultimate
Yeah.
is the end credits because it reminds me of Star Fox.
Yeah, I can see that.
I
can see that.
I love just beating it just to get to the end credits. That's sad. I mean, Ultimate's a great game, but I love the end credits.
I'm trying to think if there's a game I'd want continued like that. It's such a hard decision. I mean, I could say the snarky answer and say I want Bungie to continue Halo instead of whatever
I
company's
think what you're
doing
trying
it
to
now.
say was Werewolf on NES.
I mean, obviously.
Look that game up. It's nuts.
I mean, can we get a Ninja Turtles game that's not terrible?
I
feel
like Turtles in Time Reshelled. I liked it. I liked Turtles in Time Reshelled. I thought it was great.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
But I know everyone hated it. I loved that game.
there you go. I never played it. I never
You
played
missed
it.
out. Can't get it anymore.
Yeah. I mean, obviously the other choice would be to bring a Wipeout game back.
Yeah.
But it's just, I've played other newer Wipeout games, but without the NedgeCon, it's not the same game for me.
Yeah.
So it loses its appeal, which is a super bummer.
I think I'd like to see. Video games are in a way amazing and disappointing at the same time.
Yeah, that's the
Because
truth.
I don't really know, sometimes I don't really know a specific game I want to see come back.
Mhm.
Like God of War came back like crazy this year.
Oh my god, that was
But
insane.
That was nuts.
I have not played it, but
It's good. But,
God, that blew up.
that came back with a vengeance. But I think I just want to see the return of true storied video games. Like, no annual releases. Please, video game overlords, get rid of loot boxes and microtransactions
Oh my God,
and
please.
have a real video game for once.
Just make the game.
Just make the game. We'll buy it.
Yes, we will. Every time. Just let us pay for it and then have the
I don't
game.
mind. I don't mind DLC for extra content,
Right.
but the microtransaction stuff is horrible.
Yeah. And
Stop
unnecessary.
it. Stop it now.
Please.
But I just want to see real stories in video games. Yeah, multiplayer's fun for 5 minutes. That should
Yeah.
not be the
basis.
focus of a game.
I agree.
I mean, if you want to play a multiplayer game, go play a multiplayer game. But not every game needs to focus on multiplayer.
Fact. Yeah.
Because-
more open world, more. I mean,
Immerse me.
Yes.
Make me invested in the time that I'm spending. Don't make me invest in you. Make
Right.
me invest in the time.
in the time and in the game itself. And I mean, I'm crossing my fingers real hard for Borderlands 3 because I think that could be something I've been waiting for a long time. Of course, it's coming out in September, right when school's gonna start.
Of course.
God, video game timing drives me
They
nuts.
hate us.
Ugh.
We gotta get it for Christmas, So,
Yeah, I guess so.
but I think that's gonna wrap it up for this time. I mean,
For-
it's
for
kind of
this
nice
rant.
being back.
It is. It is.
Don't know if we'll get to another one. We'll probably get to another one before the end of the year.
We'll see.
Uh,
Hopefully.
Hopefully, talk about something crazy.
Yeah.
Like maybe. Well, we already talked conspiracy theories. We've already talked.
We've exhausted a lot of the crazy.
Yeah,
I'm sure we'll come up with something though.
murder.
Murder. On the Orient Express or just general?
Just general. No,
General
no.
murder.
No, we won't do that. But yeah, let's close it out there.
Okay.
And if you made it this far of listening to us be crazy, please join us for Science Night on May the 1st,
Yes.
2019. It's going to be a ton of fun. We're looking forward to seeing everybody there. I'm going to be giving away crazy gifts.
Yes.
And it's going to be a great time. I'm
You will
looking
be-
forward to it.
You'll be very surprised when you see what we've got on the line for this.
Okay, so until next time, this has been Mr. Holsey.
This is Hanson.
All right, and we'll catch you next time on the Sufficiently Advanced Podcast, if there is one.